Welcome to the Next Gen podcast. Thank you so much for being with us, for joining us today. We are so excited for our last Next Gen podcast of season 3, sending you into the summertime. And today, I have a very special guest joining me. Could you give it up for the Taylor Whitney?
Hello.
The fanfare is ridiculous with this guy. A lot of people are calling him Bridge Church's best drummer. Care to comment?
I would like to give credit to, I would like to give that crown to Connor DeLappa.
Connor DeLappa. Never heard of her.
And that's not fair because I don't know the drummers in Economowalk right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But Connor DeLappa, he's the man. He's
we like
insane drummer.
C-Dap a lot.
C. DeLap.
But he ain't on this podcast.
No, he's not. He's
You
not
are.
bad. I am.
You are, for a specific reason, as we go into the summertime.
Woo woo.
And you have 2 children.
I do.
2 kiddos of your own that we're not going to talk specifically about. But the question is, what do you do with them in the summer? A lot of the parents listening, all the hundreds of thousands of parents listening to this, are maybe asking themselves this question: what do I do with these kids now they ain't going to school?
Yeah.
Now that I have to entertain them, or what is it? How do you respond to "I'm bored"? Because kids like to say that.
They do. Yeah, well, my kids are pretty young, but we do hear the word bored every once in a while from our almost 4-year-old.
Yeah. I just went over to a friend's house a couple weeks ago on a Saturday, and they have a newborn, and they also have a 3-year-old. And we brought Rex, who's 1, and we're all eating breakfast together. We brought over some breakfast stuff. We're cooking, talking, how everything's going, checking in. And their 3-year-old just looked at us as we're sitting around the breakfast table, and he said, "I'm bored." While we were having conversation.
Like bored with you?
I'm bored. We don't know.
Just bored in general.
He just kept going, "I'm bored." And it was highly insulting.
Yeah.
I'm telling a story.
Yeah.
I'm bored.
Man.
What do we do with these kids?
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, that's why parents are listening to talk about what you can do this summer and what you cannot do as well. I think that's probably an important thing to touch on. And so, Taylor, maybe give us some wisdom, give us some recommendations.
Here, I'm going to look up the title of the books because this isn't me. This is my wife. My wife,
Brittany
Whitney, married into that name. It's been the bane of her existence for 8 years.
Brittany Whitney, it just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, like every job she's ever had, anyone that's like looked at her nameplate or like, whatever, they're like, Brittany Whitney. They do that, and she's like, yeah.
It's fun.
And it is fun, but to an introvert, it is not. But anyway, so she's a stay-at-home mom.
Uh-huh.
She's raising our 2 kids, doing some homeschool things with the older one. But she got 2 books, and I'm trying to look up the title of the first one. It's something about like 1,000 hours outside.
Okay.
And then the
what
second, it's like all about, like the title is so obvious, but it's a very practical book. It's not just like, here are all the studies that say like blah, 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 blah. Kids should be outside. There's some of that, but there's a lot of practical things to do with that. Like there's activity guides. There's things to do when it's rainy outside, things to do when it's cloudy, but it's still getting outside to do those things. And then a lot of times that has biblical like attachments to some of the activities. Right. So there's like some discipleship in there as well for families.
So I'm looking at their website right now.
Yeah.
They have I didn't know this. Breaking news. They have a website. And on this website is a whole bunch of things. The title of the book is this: Until the Streetlights Come On.
That's the second book.
There's 2 books.
Yes, that's the next book that I was going to get into. That one's more of a case study book.
Okay.
But still really good.
Okay.
But the other one is more of like a practical guide.
Yes.
For like, and it comes. So this is also something that's pretty cool. It comes with like a black and white like coloring page.
Okay.
With 1,000 blank things to color in with different colors, kind of like an adult coloring book, one of those crazy things.
Yes.
But you color in one block each time you spend 1 hour outside. And the goal is to, in a 365 day, it doesn't have to start January 1, but whenever you decide in 365, spend 1,000 hours. And obviously you get most of those in
Track
your warmer
your
months.
time. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
It looks like you can just get this from their website. They have there's a few you can sign up for to have them emailed to you. Mm-hmm. And there are a bunch of cool designs that I'm looking at right here.
I'm doing the work for my wife right now. Like, if you wanted her to be on a podcast, she would never want to do that.
She actually declined.
Yeah.
So that's why.
I didn't do any of this.
That's why you're here.
I'm just repeating the things my wife did because she is the better parent, the better half. In all areas. So
wow, they have a 10-year anniversary tracker you can do as well that says 1,000 miles moved, 1,000 chapters read, 1,000 books read, 1,000 analog hours. I don't know what analog hours means.
That one stumps me too.
We're still learning. In 1,000 hours outside, you can email and get those trackers sent to you if this is something that excites you about getting outside with your kids. Yeah. And we had talked about this too of like, I think we both grew up in a little different time where I would walk to my neighbor's house, down the street neighbor, not next door, at age like 5.
Oh, sure.
Part of it, I was the baby of the family. Part of it is my parents didn't care. No, I'm just kidding. My parents did care. But it was just different. There was, I think, a different level of trust.
Yeah, they had the third child for working hands on the farm.
Right. That's what my point was.
The fact that you got a break at all to go to a friend's house was really achieving a lot.
But we spent a lot of time outside, and we would even, reflecting back to elementary school days in like 6th, 7th, 8th grade. I just told a story at youth group. I used to walk home every day from school in 7th grade.
Oh, okay.
Or 8th grade. Our 8th grade center was right a mile from our house. I would walk home, and then we'd go over to my friend Mitchell Moriarty's house and play football in his front yard. Almost every day. Yeah. It's just normal. So we spent a ton of time outside, but it was different. So here's my whole point was this. Circling back is for some parents, they're going, I don't like that my kid's just going to be outside without me.
Sure.
And what you said is you realized 1,000 hours outside for your daughter means 1,000 hours outside for you and Brittany as well. Yeah. Which is going to be hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that also comes with, we also have a 9-month-old who likes being outside, but her time outside is very different. My older one can run around. We have like a small trampoline. We have a small slide. Right. Got a couple things I got to build this summer.
Nice. Yeah. Rock climbing wall. Yeah. American Ninja training course.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Yep. And even a wipeout course. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. If you're an investor, invest in the local dairy. I'm going to have a lot of whipped cream, fake pies, and I'm going to throw them at her. So, and tinfoil, cake pans. Mm-hmm. Anyways, I digress. But no, yeah, you do have to spend that time out there when you have a younger child. But, and it's fine. Like, I don't know. Like, we kind of just hit this point, especially because, like, we came off of, being in Wisconsin, we're coming off of winter all the time where you're just like, get me out of the house. So it's not that hard necessarily for us right now to get out of the house, but I can't speak to somebody who's got children older who would probably be like, no, I don't want you outside with me.
Yeah, the truth is this, because different there's parents with different age kids listening. So obviously I have a 1-year-old. Rex loves water. We just got him a water table. He literally, right now, this morning as I was leaving the house, his grandma who does childcare was holding him over the sink, and he's just playing in the sink.
Nice.
And when you pull him away, he cries, and he gets really mad, and he throws a little 1-year-old tantrum where he's just grabbing your leg, reaching up for the sink. Yeah. And I'm like, our water bill is going to be so high this month because it's literally 30 minutes yesterday. He just played in the sink. Yeah. So we got a water table. We're outside. He loves it. But for the parents of a middle schooler, you know, what does that look like to get your kid outside? Because we got middle schoolers that are all about Fortnite, and they're all about Minecraft, and they're all about Roblox, and these things where there's like, yeah, I just want to stay inside on my screen.
Yeah.
You've been a middle schooler.
Yeah, and I've been lack of a better term, a vidiot. That's what we call someone who's addicted to video games. My dad and I both were addicted to video games growing up, and my dad would jokingly throw the term vidiot around, like, wow, we're just a bunch of idiots. And he had his Gran Turismo games. I had my Tony Hawk Pro Skaters.
Like,
whatever.
What are you talking about?
So yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I was definitely a kid that enjoyed video games a lot.
Nice.
But
what advice would you give to a parent that their kid, when they say, "Hey, you should go outside," their kid goes, "How about I don't?"
Man, so each child is so different. Like, so it's like if you know that you have a child that like loves to accomplish goals or like, likes to see like check boxes checked or whatever. I would like an award system. I know that seems crazy to some, but like making it like you reach this many hours at the end of the week, we'll go do this thing or we'll get this food item, for like Friday night or whatever. I remember I'm going to tell a quick story. I remember I've never been a picky eater, even as like a little kid. I just ate everything that was on the table. Not a big deal to me. I remember in like second or third grade being at a neighbor's house, just hanging out, when you used to be able to just walk to your neighbor's house. Yeah, that kind of thing. And we're hanging out and my friend's mom pulls in and she's like, "Hey, Kyle, here, I got you these Pokemon cards for trying new food last night."
Nice.
And I was just enraged with anger because I'm like, what? There's a system in place that if you try new food, you can get cool new toys.
Up for this.
I didn't know that. I should have been a picky eater, But no, so just like if like you have an award system for that, like your kid doesn't like to eat food or vegetables, and you're trying to get that like an award system, or even like we have a big thing where like even though our kids are young, we don't talk to them as if they can't understand. So like we're talking about things like good foods and bad foods, and we call them what do we call them? Brittany found this thing. It's like up foods and down foods, essentially. We're like proteins and like healthy fats.
Yeah.
And we say like that's an up food, and she's like, "What's up food?" And I'm like, "Not much." Got her good. Comedy.
Balls for that, dude.
No, but then we just tell her like, "Oh, those are things that like make you run fast. Those are things that like make you jump higher." And like, and she like is
like some
all
PF
in.
Flyers. Dude. Run faster, jump higher.
But
broccoli.
Yeah. So, if that's like an award system is something that like you have seen like your child succeed with, that might be a way to encourage them to step away from a screen. But I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I think I like that point of you got to know your kid a little bit. I think I heard this story. This is not crazy or anything. People probably heard it before, but this dad was complaining to a mom about playing with their kid of like, man, we spend 2 minutes playing with this toy, and then they want to go do something else with this toy, and then they want to go to this different room and do this, and I just don't like. We got them all these toys, and they only use them for 2 or 3 minutes at a time. And the mom looked at the dad and said, "Dummy, you're the toy. They want to play with you." And it was like, oh, yeah. And I obviously am trying to remember that of like, man, we should be happy that our kids want to play with us. And I think that's probably part of it too, is like parents, you want to raise healthy, not just physically, but mentally healthy kids. And I think a part of that is playing with your kids. I think there's probably a ton of research out there, what getting them outside and being involved in their life looks like. And, I have parents that are saying, my kid never talks to me. They're on their phone in their room the entire time. And I'm not blaming parents for that. I do wonder, what strategy are you taking now in their relationship to set you up for the future? Of when you have to have harder conversations, or when you have to, I don't know, take a stand for something that they're not going to like. what is your relationship with your kid, and how. I'm just thinking for myself.
Yeah.
With Rex being 1, okay, obviously this is not. He's not gonna remember me playing with him now, but when he's 5, 6, 7, 8, like I remember playing catch with my dad.
Sure.
Behind our house and the different games we play outside or shooting hoops, and I'm like, oh man, I look back on that very fondly.
Yeah.
And so I think that's more. I think of like, and I know some of our kids now that if I was like, let's go have a catch outside, they'd be like, how about we don't? You know.
Yeah.
But I think finding let's go for a walk then. Like let's just go for a walk together, or let's go ride our bikes together, or let's go do something together outside. That's giving up your time too. But I think it's probably worth it.
Yeah.
It's probably valuable.
For sure. This is also one of those things that like like having a almost 4-year-old and 9-month-old. I'm like, I don't know if I really want to talk a whole lot about like a junior high age, high school age, because I know I've learned from when I had a newborn to 3, I did not know anything about what it's like having a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
And I'm learning a lot.
Well,
but like
that's a good point. I'll say this.
It is difficult. Like I don't want to speak too confidently about anything. That's why you're like, we aren't try experts. These things.
We aren't experts. We know that.
Yeah.
And we don't offer all the solutions. I do. Kids, no matter what age, want to feel connected. They want to feel safe. And I think they want to feel special.
Yeah.
And I think parents, when spending time with your kids, feed all those things. So, like some of our boys right now in youth group, we'll go play pickleball together. That's outside. That's fun to do. I enjoy that. Some of our guys will not go play pickleball with me. I know that. So I got to figure out what is it for them that I can say, hey, I took a couple kids to the driving range that don't like golf. All right, we were just goofy and we swung clubs and whatever.
Yeah.
There's some kids who might just want to go for a walk or, go see a different site or something, walk around that area.
Yeah. It's kind of also like I'm reading a book and they did a chapter on like inward renewal. Just like I know what it sounds like, but it's like all in like, like there's those who thrive in crowd settings.
Yeah.
And there's those who are like, get me out of this crowd.
Right.
I am drained. I just want to be alone in a book. But like understanding like what fuels your kid, like what
right.
makes, what actually like really gets them going. Like what's something that they just get super amped about. Like, for some kids that might be going to like a Brewers game or going to Doc Hound's game. But some kids are like you're saying, like, no, like that's not my thing. But they would want to go to like, we're trying to get them outside, but like they might just go like, I want to go,
dig a hole
or like, like, I don't know. Or they're like, I just want to go in the woods and I just want to like, hike a path or like, I just want to like, see if I can find bugs or something. You know? There's just polar out, like, kids aren't the same. We're not all the same, but it's like what actually like kind of what gets them like excited, what energizes them, outside of video games, like, because video games can energize, like that's an inward renewal at times, but it's just like, I don't know, like get them away from that.
Final thoughts from me is this. I also think it's okay if you push your kids sometimes. They don't want to go outside. No, we're going to go outside for an hour today.
Yeah.
I do think that's okay. They might be frustrated or not like you in that moment.
Yeah.
Man, I think it's all right. You're the parent. And if you think it's valuable for your kid, you can enforce that.
Yeah.
And they might be mad for a moment, but I do think they'll see a benefit to you spending time with them.
Yeah.
To you going outside, you have them go for a walk, doing something. And the last thought is this. As they go away from a time of being asked to do a lot of things with schoolwork and different extracurriculars that come along with school, I'm not saying let's pile on more things. I do think giving them some responsibility around the house is a beneficial thing.
Mm-hmm.
A couple chores, whatever that looks like. And I know there's chores. We've talked about this before, but dependent upon your age that you're able to do. So it could go from a first grader to a senior. What are you responsible for at your house? Giving them ownership over that. And anytime they say, I'm bored, well, what chores do you have to do? It's an easy thing to go to as well. Happy summer. Any last thoughts?
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
So insightful. So beneficial.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Taylor
no
Whitney.
problem.
Maybe next time Brittany Whitney will pick up the phone and We care. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, guys. This is also, not to get all sad and sappy, my last Next Gen podcast ever.
Yeah.
And if you're a faithful listener, can you just let me know? If you're out there, if anyone's out there, let me know. We love you. We'll see you later. Enjoy your summer.